Hi, everyone. I'm really honored to be speaking here today, and I just want to give a big thank you to CIE for organizing this event. Um, as Dr. Seong mentioned, the title of my presentation is Going Above and Beyond in STEM, and I'll go ahead and get started. So I'm first going to give a brief overview of my experience in STEM, and the main two parts of STEM that I was involved in were math and research. So for math, I developed my interest relatively early on by trying out math counts in middle school and being a part of Math Rocks in Plano ISD and taking accelerated courses because of that. Um, and then in Jasper High School, I solidified my interest in math by attending honors summer math camp at Texas State University, where I took higher level courses and had one of my first serious looks into research. But I wasn't as serious as in research until I attended the Texas Academy of Mathematics and Sciences, or TAMS for short. And here I did computational chemistry research with one of the professors at the University of North Texas, and I submitted it to various competitions. And at the same time, I continued doing math and taking higher level courses. So the first part in going above and beyond in STEM is first having a strong foundation. And so some of the basics are just by challenging yourself in school. And so what this means for a lot of people is taking accelerated courses. And additionally with this, if you choose to do research in high school, these courses can be the foundation for your background knowledge. I also recommend taking widely applicable courses such as like Intro CS or Statistics, because these can be used in research basically no matter what field you're in. And these have a lot of resources online as well, like such as courses on edX or Coursera. However, no high schooler doing research is truly going to know everything about their research topic, because they tend to be extremely niche, and that's totally okay. And I don't think that feeling like, oh, like I don't know about this one topic that this research is in is a reason to stop you. The main consideration is that if you're willing to ask questions and self-study some material and put in effort, then you should be good to go for research. And then next, for STEM exploration, I would recommend trying to identify your potential interests ASAP. And so this could be with anything from like trying out competition math through this MathComp today, or like taking a science course at SIGS, or trying out Scratch programming. Anything goes, and not everything will work out, but that will still be progress. And with this is to try to cultivate a love of learning. So by embracing your natural curiosity and trying to avoid being pressured into a field that you feel like you should be doing because everybody else is doing it. And with that in mind, here are some like do not do's when you're exploring your interests. So again, do not force your interest. It'll often just lead to burnout later down the road. And don't limit yourself to only one interest or only STEM, and try not to create a rigid future plan, even if only in your head, because interests will likely change over time, and that's pretty inevitable. So now that we have the foundation, we can look at a deeper pursuit of STEM. And so it's really important to have something in STEM that actually truly interests you, instead of just saying like, I like STEM. So for me, what drew me to STEM was seeing how I could use STEM's logic to solve problems, and it was kind of fun, like solving a puzzle. And I also loved how STEM could explain the why in the world around me, as well as solve today's biggest problems, especially through research. And so after you've identified the specific reasons why you love STEM or your STEM interest, the next logical step for many people is competitions and programs. And these do matter, but possibly not for why you might think. It's not to simply pad your resume with a lot of awards. In fact, being solely awards oriented can lead to like a lack of passion, or again, like burnout. Instead, I like to view these as ways to challenge yourself. And whenever you challenge yourself, it's an opportunity for growth and further exploration. And as well as there's many other benefits, such as fostering your critical thinking skills, your presentation and writing skills, and building community with people who have similar interests who can also expose you to new interests that you can then explore further. So the one of the ways I went above and beyond in STEM was math, and competition math is drastically different from school math. The problems are more like solving puzzles because they're often with concepts you might not have encountered before. And the most common way to be involved in competition math is with the AMC series. But for younger students in middle school, Math Counts is a really great option, and there's a great community there. And there's tons of competitions such as like ARML or Math Prize for Girls, and so much more. Some of the benefits to competition math is that it really trains you to approach complex problems because you really have to think outside the box. And this outside the box thinking carries over to just learning in general and other Olympiads if you choose to do those as well. So like the USA Coding Olympiad or Physics Olympiad, I know that a lot of kids who do competition math will also do those as well. And it also helps hone your drive and perseverance because it takes a lot of time, practice, and consistency. It's very, very, very rarely that someone can just like grasp all of these competition math problems from the get-go. And another way that I pursued math above and beyond was with higher level math courses. So pure math is often like proof based or theory based. And I did some of these courses at Honors Summer Math Camp. And while the specific like proofs may not be as applicable in general to like more applied fields, the logic in this is really useful for the type of thinking used elsewhere, whether it be in computer science or competition math, or basically anything at all. And there's also more practical math courses that I took at TAMS, like linear algebra or differential equations, that are more based on the methods to solving problems. And so these are really useful for research and engineering. So here is a list of math resources and programs that I've compiled. AOPS is a fantastic widely used source and one of the sponsors for today. It's one of the biggest resources for competition math in general, and it has a lot of past problems as well as courses. And there are also countless other math classes and summer programs that are great for building community and an immersive experience. Again, I personally went to HSMC, and you can go to the respective websites for each of these for more information. So the second way I went above and beyond was in research, more in like the past 2 years of my high school experience. So why do research in high school? Personally, I think there's some like a magic in discovering something that absolutely nobody knows yet. It's intimidating, but it's also really rewarding. When you're like in the process and in the research journey. And it's a great way to contribute to a field you're passionate about and solve real world problems. But I guess you may be wondering, like, how do I know which field you're passionate about? You may not know even when you're in high school or in college or like just whenever. But research is also a way to explore your interests. And there are interdisciplinary fields that are really interesting that can help you get a taste of like multiple fields at once, such as like computational social cognition. And I also think that doing high school research is really great because you learn about the process of research itself, which is really a lot more about depth than breadth. And it's pretty rare to go so deeply into any one topic, especially in high school. And so it's really great to get a taste of that. So how do we get started with research? There's often school clubs, especially those concerned with science fair. And then there's two main types of research that people will do in high school. So independent research, where you gather your own materials and you research methods on your own, or like what I did, which was have a university mentor. So you can reach out to local professors just like by emailing them. And TAMS has pretty great ways to match you with professors, or you can apply to summer programs. And in this page, I have another list of resources. There's plenty of research programs out there you can apply to. I did 1 year of research at HSMC, and so you can just go to their website. But you should keep in mind that there are some limitations, like you might have to be in a certain grade level and the applications may be competitive. But as always, you can also just reach out to local professors. And there's several research competitions. I did some of the ISF affiliated science fairs, which are um, the normal like school science fairs. And then I also did Regeneron Science Talent Search and was a finalist for that. Finally, no matter how good you are at STEM, there is no greater meaning to your success unless you give back. And so service in STEM was something I was really passionate about. Um, for me, it was often about like bridging inequality in STEM, whether that be like gender inequality or lack of access for low income or minorities. And it can take the form of like mentorship or demonstration and projects, building STEM kits or fundraising. Um, so there's often school organizations to get involved. For me personally at TAMS, I volunteered a lot with Girls Engineering Club, and I demonstrated hands-on STEM projects to girls in low-income communities, and I really think that was one of the like highlights of my high school experience. Or you can just volunteer, you know, in the future at this CIE MathComp MathFun program or like Spark STEM or Integrals, and there's a lot of ways you can get involved, and I highly recommend doing that. Yeah, so thank you so much for listening today. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me at amyguan@stanford.edu.